This Rev 3 Games preview is brought to you by lynda.com.
It's with great pleasure that I introduce the game director on Infamous Second Son, Nate Fox. Good to see you.
Hello.
So it's been about 3 years since we last had an Infamous game. Obviously, you were working on the PlayStation 3 with that title. Were there ideas that you just could not incorporate into Infamous 1 and Infamous 2 that you're finally able to put into this game?
Well, superhero fiction, right? It is as vast as the ocean. I mean, there are so many heroes, there's so many ideas for powers, cool things to do, setups. Yes, we had a lot of ideas. And thankfully, we got a bit of hardware that let us make some of those things come true.
Yeah, I mean, is it just, hey, it's a much bigger city, you can put a lot more enemies, or are there things that are a little more nuanced that may not be immediately available to the player?
Oh, totally. The PlayStation 4, the thing that I like the best about it, actually, is the controller, because you have a lot more precision with the sticks, and it has this sweet speaker in it. So when you do things like drain power from the city, you can hear it through the controller, so it kind of makes it feel more immediate. But more so, like, Delson is all about having these superpowers, and because of the horsepower, we can make the particle systems that do the special effects just kick ass. And we could never have done that on the last generation.
Now, of course, the flip side of that is, yes, you can have all these things happening on screen, but then there's kind of I think a point where the player's like, okay, I don't know what's going on. How do you sort of balance, hey, let's get more particles, let's get more effects, but let's also still allow the player to know what the hell's going on, because there's a lot of activity on screen.
That's true, there's a lot going on, but for me it's not like the number of particles, it's like the silky smoothness, the fact that the particles light up the world, and all that, really, honestly, the thing that matters about it is that you believe it's happening. We work hard to make a really believable city. Things break and they look right with lighting or like dynamic rain, that kind of thing. And those special effects being kind of smooth and silky, so you buy them, is what we care about. Certainly we don't want to overwhelm anybody by having just like fireworks going off in their eyes all the time.
Yeah, it's not just what's on screen, it's sort of how it's traversing the screen, I guess.
Totally.
Is the best way of putting it.
Like it's hard to actually talk about Second Son without showing a video, because the thing in motion is so different than a still shot.
Actually, speaking of the city, this takes place in Seattle. This is the first time you've actually done it in an actual city. It was just kind of a facsimile of Seattle in the original Infamous and a pretend New Orleans in Infamous 2. Why did you decide to actually ground it in your own hometown?
Well, we live there, so we thought we could do just a great job at reproducing the feel of the streets and all the subtlety of the texture. And wanted to make that really believable foundation so that when you got those superhuman powers, you believe that those were true too. And we love Seattle. We live there. It's a love letter to our city.
Are you worried that, like, obviously you're going to be showing quite a bit of destruction of the city of Seattle? Will the mayor come a calling? I guess.
I hope so. I'd like to meet him. But come on, when you walk down the street at home, don't you want to flip cars over and trash things?
Well, especially in traffic. There's nothing more desirable than doing something
Get out your
like
road
that.
rage, superhero style.
So you've only talked about two of the powers, smoke and neon, and there are others that are in the game. I think what's really interesting is that, unlike, say, most other games where you kind of aggregate, be it weapons or powers, you're not switching between them. There has to be the power or the source of the power available in the environment. So if you see smoke coming out, you're going to be smoke until you find neon.
Yes, so we really wanted to make the controls as user-friendly and easy to pick up as possible. And so our clever idea, I'll give you some inside baseball here, is to make the buttons kind of do the same thing thereabouts, the same kind of feel between the different power sets, but by draining a different kind of power, it remaps the buttons to do totally different things from a strategy standpoint. So it makes it very easy to use a game, because if you want to be a long distance kind of player, you go to neon. If you want to be an up close kind of brawler, you go to smoke. And to switch out these powers, you just got to find it in the environment, and it's everywhere. It's not hard to find power sources.
So let's say that all the powers were unlocked. Let's not ask for the specifics on what those other powers are. But I mean, will it depend upon where you are in the city to access certain types of powers? I mean, that's sometimes a way in an open world game that you can kind of, hey, you don't want to go over here right now. I mean, are you playing a little bit with that?
Certainly, all the powers that Delson has access to are drawn from the city itself. And so, as you might imagine, in certain places there are, less of that element. So, for instance, neon. Every now and then on a rooftop you'll find a neon sign, but they're not on every rooftop. But at street level, particularly if you're in an area with a lot of bars, you will be at no lack for neon.
So you'll find where the college is, go by UW, and you should be just
You
standing.
hear drunk people singing in the night. There are neon powers to be had.
In terms of just sort of how you engage in combat, from what I've already seen, it's very similar to InFAMOUS. Have you tried to broaden it or expand it, or are you kind of relying upon the tried and tested of what the first two games had?
So in the new game, one thing that we've put a lot of effort on is being able to use your powers in combination to do really big attacks. So for instance, like you can shoot at any time doing anything. In the demo we saw today, the guy was jumping up in middle air and shooting people while falling, then sending them up into the air with another attack and then zapping them there. So those kind of combos being easy to pull off is something that we wanted to focus on in the product. And it was harder in the last game, to be honest.
And traversing. I mean, that was actually one of the most pleasurable aspects of the InFAMOUS games. Yeah. I didn't see as much of sort of the rails in the short demo that you showed. I mean, are you building upon what you guys have?
Okay, so it's different depending on what power you've got. So I don't know if you've seen any of the previous movies with smoke, but what you can do, Delson, is find some air vents, kind of go up a tube in the city.
Right. Pop up to a roof.
But you have to find them, and you can also use them to get these kind of big lifts. But when you have neon powers, you can kind of effortlessly just flow up and down walls without having to find those guides. And the different powers let you move through the city differently.
In terms of finding, say, like the vents for smoke, and I guess the chimneys that have the smoke coming out of it. When you're in that power, I mean, how are you going to tell off to the player who could be moving through combat or just traversing so quickly that it's available there? Is there some kind of semiotic trick you're using?
Oh, well, I mean, think about it. Like, all right, so the two power sources we talked about, smoke and neon. Do you know what smoke looks like?
Neon stands out, yeah.
No, but I'm like, you see smoke. It's smoke, man, and it's cool too because the environment's dynamic. So, like, if you need smoke, you could just bash on the hood of a car until the engine explodes and make your own smoke source. I mean, we're really trying to make a simulation.
A superhero simulation.
Well, yeah,
if such a thing exists.
It's an open world game. You want to make it. Are you familiar with the term happy accidents?
Yes.
Like open world
My entire
games,
career actually is
you are the happy accident.
Yes.
When you do something and it blows up this car that hits a tower that makes it fall so that it gets the guy, you feel awesome. And by making the world reactive to itself like that, putting power sources in broke cars, that kind of stuff happens all over the place, and it's fun.
No, I mean, I think the franchise really succeeds at being kind of the power fantasy, and many games aim for that. And is that what you're bearing in mind when you're designing it?
Totally, man. Well, I mean, haven't you seen these summer blockbuster superhero films and said, "Oh man, I'd like to experience that"? Video games are awesome for letting you feel what it's like to step into the shoes of a character, and we want to give that origin story to players. And with Second Son, we're really happy because it's an all-new origin story for this new character, Delson Rowe. Third-person action adventure is a great way to kind of get to know the character, and we're very pleased with it.
Well, it's kind of like giving a bald guy his hair back again.
That's the power you and I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
InFAMOUS Second Son is coming out on March 21st on the PlayStation 4?
That's correct.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did interviewing, and with that in mind, we ask you to please check out our sponsor, lynda.com. Lynda.com is an online learning company that teaches software, creative, and business skills. You can learn anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can try lynda.com for free for 7 days by signing up at lynda.com/Rev3Games.